Good day, YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to the day's voting video on YouTube. I'm not going to be looking at these two toys at the moment because I haven't finished up building a train set. That will be in another video, but in this video, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what's going to be coming up whenever I've got a toy review. Basically, I've been straightforward thinking about making flip-flap airplane toys in the form of flip-flap planes, and I was actually thinking about doing, basically some fighter jet sort of toys in a sense, or the packaging sort of unpacking itself. That's a bit weird, so I've actually got two products that'll be straightforward covered in another video, but today's video is not going to be all about toy planes and that sort of stuff. I'm going to show you what's actually been straightforward highly successful right over in my other room, which is this one right here. This is the middle room. And I've been doing a lot of gardening and things. It's one of these things where I've actually been doing a lot of planting and stuff. And the sort of planting I did was I was straightforward basically learning how to plant zinnias because I think when it came to this and also is it Galladia? I can't remember the seeds. Highly looking like honey. I think when it came into planting these two plants, or should I just say 3 plants together, because I've just created 3 containers, basically 2 plant pots and one, what do you call it, like a container, propagator container thing. It's got holes in the top where the water can be extracted. They haven't been germinated yet, but at the moment, we've got some seagulls. Noisy seagulls going on here. I think a crow has straightforward been... I think that crow has been harassing that seagull on purpose. That's a bit weird. Anyways, so we've got zinnia and we've also got galladia right in the middle here. Them flower pots and stuff. So I've been straightforward planting a lot of different things, and actually something quite interesting has came along my way here. What is that? That looks like a wasp. It's not a sort of typical wasp, like a European or a paper wasp or a common wasp, what we're going to call them. Are these Ichneumon wasps? They look fairly strange looking. And I'm trying to free this little buddy here. I might put it back into nature. It's a very small looking wasp. I don't think it really stings. It's actually quite... usually it doesn't sting, but this is actually quite a fairly... It actually is quite a very small looking wasp. Oh, that's fairly cute. Normally I don't really touch these things. They don't really sort of sting, but oh, there you go. I've just flicked it all the way so they can be free at nature. That's quite interesting. So the sun feels warm, so I'm gonna pop outside and see what plants have I been surveying. And we've actually got some good news along the way here, especially the nasturtiums. Okay, I'm actually outside on the backyard garden, and strangely enough, it feels nice and sunny. Obviously, it feels so good whenever you're outside. We've got a lot of insects flying around here because it's that time of the year. We've got lots and lots of overgrowth of plants, which really, I don't know what to really say. There's some which I'm quite familiar with. Others I just think, hey, that's straightforward, a bit totally different. But hey, I'm actually seeing some plants that are actually regrown from previous... how would I say it? Looks like I'm getting some various repeats of what I've seen in previous times when I've decided to grow plants and stuff. That's like a little pink flower. I've forgotten its name. I don't think it's mallow, but I can also see these little, oh my goodness me, I can't really remember them yellow flowers. I need to take a photograph of one of these things and just go into the plant ID net and just find out whatever the heck these plants were. I've also transplanted some some cosmos flowers. Sadly, some of them have died, so that's why I decided to somehow transplant a few bit of, something else. And actually, look at this. One of the cosmos has actually started to create another set of leaves. Now, that's highly amazing somehow. I might have to wait for the actual sunlight to actually bring it. And there's actually even more meadow plants, which are also coming out from this little remainder of compost that I've actually forgotten to realise. Hey, that's somehow fantastic. That primrose has been fried, sadly. But what I can also see, here it comes, Ta-da! We've got some nasturtiums. We've got some very good news here. Look at the nasturtiums. They're actually thriving quite well. I might have to probably top it off with more water. But they really like damp and moist conditions at the moment. These plants are actually doing fairly well. I tell you what, those nasturtiums, they're absolutely fantastic. And what they've also left off with are those very strange little, I don't know what these are. These little like plant case things. I got no idea whatever the hell these things are. We've also got some white flowers right here, little tiny ones. And strangely, as I'm doing some nature trekking around my backyard garden, I'm actually seeing a wood pigeon that's actually poking right out on the treetops. It's actually right. That's just straightforward. Let's just say, is it the understory layer? I can't really tell. We've also got more meadow plants here, but I don't think they've just grown. They're sort of grown a bit taller, but I just don't think they're just growing that nicely a bit. These ones are, well, as you can tell, they're actually growing much nicer. Of course, yes, we've got some warm, if not hot weather next week, so this will be fairly fun. Got some wild cabbage flowers growing around here. Some of them dead ones. I'll have to probably prune some of these dead bits so that I can make space and make room for, let's just say, the other appendages. I mean, yep, look at that. This thing must have just died off during winter. I mean, look at that. I'm going to have to take out some of these little bits I should prune out after a very long cold winter. I mean, this here, oh, I'm just hearing a rose-winged parakeet outside. But I don't see it. Anyways, so we've got this beautiful looking wild cabbage flower that has actually started to blossom itself, attracting insects and all. Noticing it's actually doing fairly well somehow. And I can also see another one right there. Look at how much it has just grown. Right from top to bottom. That is just somehow fantastic and amazing. Right, and apart from what I'm just seeing so far, what else can I see? There's some forget-me-nots right here. I'll just straightforward turn the brightness a little bit down. Okay, looking good so far. The meadow plants are also doing very good and a-okay as well. They're also growing. One of them is growing nicely. Uh-oh, we've got a nettle. I might have to probably prune that and get rid of that nasty thing. And yes, I could tell you what, look how much I've been sowing. Lots of seed sowing so far. And what's even more interesting is that the bird feeder is nearly gone and bust. I suppose the birds must have felt completely and utterly starving. I tell you what, them birds really love them bird food so much, I have to say, hey? And tracking quite along here. There's more bluebell activity. I think it's Spanish bluebell and all things. There's some dandelions here. Okay, there's all sorts of other bluebells are also, as I'm tracking across, they're actually doing fairly alright, to be honest. I'm pretty sure they won't survive the summer. Obviously, this one is sort of shrinking down. I don't know why. I don't know why it's sort of shrunken down. I'll have to straightforward pull this one a bit. Oh, there you go. Obviously, they're not English ones. If you're picking up an English bluebell, you're going to land into some hot water because bluebells, I think more specifically the English ones, they're highly protected in our country. But these ones are the Spanish ones because they've got like a lightish, sort of baby bluish and lavender lilac sort of shade into it, as I like to call it. And apparently, apart from all plants and all things, oh, look at that. The mint has grown so nicely. And I'm also seeing some more growth of actual meadow plants. So I've actually decided, I think back from earlier in the month, I actually decided to sow some seeds to straightforward create a nice big meadow. And I think that's one of the best things I did, to try and get as much space all covered up in plants so that the bees and the other insects will come along and pollinate the rest of the whole ecosystem. It's just fantastic and marvellous, I have to say, eh? I wonder what that leaf is. I can't really tell what leaf this thing is from. Probably guessing it might be from caterpillar damage. And I'm going to track along here because I can also see some foxgloves. This one here has sadly been damaged by, I probably presume, caterpillar attacks and stuff. I think they should straightforward blossom during the summer that we're going to be having this year. but because of the caterpillar damage, I'm quite skeptical on how this is actually going to turn out. I've got no idea on how these things are going to straightforward end up, but hey, who knows? We'll just have to see from, let's just say, a couple of days, if not weeks, months' time. We'll just see how the garden is transforming. And I can also see some dandelion clock seed flower heads ready to straightforward spread new seeds once the wind blows. Anyways, I'm actually sort of thinking maybe this backyard garden needs to straightforward be trimmed. I'm only going to be keeping this part here because that's where the cornflowers are, and that's actually my cornflowers because I don't want to be cutting up and chewed up by lawnmowers and things. And also them foxgloves because I want to see how these plants are going to really thrive throughout this year's summer. I'm actually quite curious about that actually. And yeah, I'm also going to think about keeping this wild cabbage because, hey, it's an awesome flower. You can't go wrong with having a wild cabbage. And then we've also got some mint and other plants and things. Hopefully, as time flies by, we'll have an absolutely amazing, wonderful garden filled with lots and lots of plant pots that I'm ready to straightforward look forward to on growing. Anyways, I think that's about it in this video. If you really enjoyed it, please give this video a good like, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.